Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to get into the newspapers. But before I introduce my guest, guess what? Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment as always. And here's what they're offering you if you're a man: prostate screening for free. In the news, I was talking about the common cancers that are predominant and taking, over the health space. Liver, breast, cervical, but including what? Prostate cancer. So if you're a man and you've never checked out your prostate, do you know what's happening there? Would you want to be surprised? They're offering you free screening for that. If you're a woman, they're offering you fertility screening for free. It could be your cervix, it could be your womb, it could be fibroids developing. But why wait and be surprised by illness? That is why I'm proffering for you to reach out to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic at any of their branches, starting with here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Energy Estate, there's Tema Community 22, there's Techiman Hanswe and Siamanzima. Their call lines are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 3821. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But time now for us to get into the newspapers. Joining me this morning, Yaa Jantuah. She's former Director, External and Public Affairs at the PURC. Good morning, Yaa.
Former General Secretary of CPP.
And former General Secretary. And also me Van Gaal.
Hey, me go for it if I can.
Sir.
Hey, you say I don't say me former and free ho, but.
Oh, okay. Obviously, you former and free ho. So do they want you back?
Something like that, but.
Let's
see how it goes.
This is my friend and mommy because we are both, I'm a Thursday born as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
so this is a Yaa and Yaa show.
Yes, but we gel for some reason.
Yeah. I'm sure it's the Thursday vibe.
Yes.
Jesus was born on Thursday.
Wow, which calendar? The 25th thing?
No, it was revealed to me,
That's great.
That's just a joke I usually do in church when we're doing Kofi and Amma.
Okay.
I tell them the most important day is Thursday.
It's Thursday.
I was born on Thursday.
That's cute.
But right before we get into the
your
papers.
Ring.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm a kakra. My weekend was dark and lovely.
Oh,
you know where I'm headed? Yeah. It has nothing to do with the brand, Dark and Lovely. It was dark at certain times. From Saturday to Sunday, what they did to us was, and I slept in darkness from...
Which area is this?
I don't like for security reasons.
Yes. But give me broad. I mean, it's not... It's good.
Oh, it's here in Accra.
Yeah.
It's here in Accra. And the heat and the torment. I woke up Sunday morning. I had to go to a friend's father's Thanksgiving. In fact, I spent my entire day there. I woke up with a splitting headache.
You would?
It was as though someone had a banjo in my head and was
hitting
it. It was terrible. Later that day, some portion of the neighborhood went off again. Traffic lights were not functioning. It was making matters very bad. And this event I attended was in Akwiteman. Mm-hmm. I saw a scene that really leapt at me. It made me sad. That neighborhood also had a power outage where we're doing, after the Thanksgiving mass or service, you go somewhere. Where we were, I saw this woman with her baby. That baby can't be more than a few months old. She was sitting across a gutter. Her back against a certain wall, her legs over the gutter, and she had her baby. And the infants, they can't take heat.
Yeah, they can't take heat. The baby was crying.
So she brought the baby out
of the house
for some air. Over the weekend, sometimes I do that. I don't drive. I decide to use Uber. Spoke to this driver, and guess what? It was night. The lights had gone off. I was coming from the Spintex area. And he was on the phone with his wife because their baby can't take the heat. Once the light goes off, the baby starts wailing.
Yes.
And I asked myself,
what
in the midst of all of this, you have someone telling you that, Sebi, you need doom so, you will doom CSC. Sometimes I honestly boil at the nonsense.
You boil, yes. You boil.
But anyway.
You boil.
If you have any thoughts for us, we will take them now.
On the doom so, what's going on is not the best, right? You have a lot of people. Good morning to your viewers and good morning to everybody, even those on Facebook and everywhere. You see, it is very problematic And especially to see the president say, he didn't even say CC. He said that there is no doom.
It's over.
It's over. The day he said there was no doom, he said yesterday, that was on Wednesday, the first day. He said yesterday there was no lights off anywhere in this country. And that was the day that on Tuesday I went off the whole day. From 6, that is the day, not night, from 6 to 6. After my morning devotion, I just got up and I was going to enter the bathroom and the light went off. It happened again on Friday. So me, because I just find out that what is this and they tell me it's load shedding. I don't know why this government is taking us for granted. That is my biggest problem. As if they don't respect us, as if they don't...
No, as if?
Yeah, I
in
mean,
other countries where leaders respect citizens,
yes,
they try not to lie to them. It's not that they are perfect.
Yes.
But especially where, for example, the president said, Accra will be the cleanest city in Africa. How many years on?
That's about 7.5 years. 7 years, 6 months.
Accra is much dirtier today.
It is very dirty.
So when state, and the problem is just apologize.
You see,
or just say something.
Something that I was overwhelmed. I mean, and they leave it as it is. It's not only Accra. Go to places in Ghana where there was no dirt on the streets. Go to Tamale. Before Tamale was clean. You still have these rubbers all over the place. Go to Kumasi, Ashanti region. Go to Takrade. I mean, all these places were not the center. But now, they are so unclean. It is amazing. It is just that God has been good to us, that we haven't had any health epidemic. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Because it is so bad that we are not having children getting dysentery and all that. It is very, very bad. Very bad. And I don't know what the government is doing about it. I don't even know why we bring them to power to come and misbehave in our faces. Because without us, they will not get the nod. But immediately they sit on the seat, they don't even care about us. And it is sad. For me, it makes me sad. Yesterday, I was going somewhere and I saw people on the streets of Accra, and I told myself that, why are we making life very difficult for our people? Why? Because the resources in this nation is adequate, good enough to look after everybody. Why is it that a few people and their family members want to just amass wealth? And what is even annoying is that before they come to power, they don't have anything. By the time you realize they are setting up factories, they are setting up shops, they are setting up restaurants. Where do they get the money from to do that?
They are setting up radio stations.
Radio, whatever.
You know, building their war chest on the media front, television stations.
I mean, that's...
and these stations are spewing propaganda.
Yeah.
That's all they're spewing. They're not spewing anything that is objective. They are spewing propagandist.
Yeah.
The other day I saw something, and I'll not mention, from one, outlet, and it was clearly skewed on the back of the train that ran into something.
Yeah. Well,
so skewed, and I happen to know who owns that entity. I just laughed. And how can you be taken seriously?
No, you see, they are not. I mean, all I'm saying is that Ghana should do something to show MPP that they can't take us for granted. They should not even think. I don't know why they are wasting money to go around making promises. You have not been able to fulfill the promises you made to us 2016. You have not been able to fulfill the 2020. You are going to give us another set of promises for 2024. I mean, certainly that is a no-go area. It's a no-brainer, and we need to really come together as a nation. Ghana should see to it that the 2024 election is not about a certain political party.
Right.
It's about the liberation of Ghana. It should be a second independence for us.
Election 2024 should be a second independence
for this nation. So everybody, it doesn't matter where you belong, whether you are CPP, MPP, NDC, you are for the movement for change, wherever, GCPP, you should make up your mind that we are forming one big coalition in our hearts. If you have never voted before, please go and vote. Today, if you have lost your card, go and register, re-register. If you are 18, go and register, because if you are 18, the 2024 election is an election for your future.
Right.
It is an election for your family. And I believe that we should come as one not thinking about political, but come as one and galvanize and see who is the right person for us to vote for to lead this country. Certainly not the MPP. Certainly not Dr. Bawumia. Because they have lied. You see, when somebody lies to you, it's sad. For instance, these are PAT buildings. I congratulated them. Later on, then things are coming up. That it wasn't built by government. That 6-point-something million cedis was given as compensation. Mining companies also contributed. Individual Ghanaians contributed. So why should they take the credit?
So I know there haven't been compensations, but while all these entities contributed, I guess that's the propaganda of it.
Yeah.
But if you go beyond the propaganda of we have built,
yes,
there is also the reality of government actually doing some work. They held the entity involved responsible.
Yeah,
so the mining company
that's what they paid
money.
Yes.
But you know there was a fund, the Apiate
That's
Fund,
what I know.
headed by Reverend Dr. Joyce Aye.
Yeah.
So there were contributions and all
Yes.
that. So government did do something. Government contributed something, but government did not single-handedly.
That is what I'm saying. I mean, what did government contribute? How much? I had 100,000 Ghana cedis or something like that. So if government contributed something, let us know your contribution. Let us know the fine. Let us know how much has come into the fund. Right now, others are complaining that they have not received their houses. And 125 houses have been built. I think that there should be some form of accountability. Because when people start coming and they start talking about these things, it becomes problematic.
Well, let's get into the papers. One of the things you've left me with this morning, election 2024 should be a second independence for Ghana. Yaa Jantuah saying that. But let's get into the papers now. Which stories stand out for you? I'll let you do the Ghanaian Times, the publisher, and then the custodian before I come in. Okay. So over to you. Which one are you starting with?
I see majority caucus petitions backbring to recall Parliament.
Yeah.
And I believe it's concerning I haven't gone into, but concerning the ministers that have to be.
They say government's business.
Yeah, I believe that one I go with them, and I believe that Right Honorable Bagman has proved his point. He's been able to prove to, and of which I'm very happy about. He's able to
on the LGBTQ.
Yes, on the LGBT, he's able to prove his mettle. He's able to prove that Parliament is the second independent arm of government. We know you have the executive, the legislature, then we have the judiciary, and the fourth, the media. So it is very important that he made his point clear. And I think for government business, for Ghanaians, for things to move on, I think he should. And I hear Parliament is going to, convene very soon. But if not, then maybe there should be a recall. But they should also have a way of asking. I mean, there should be some apologetic, nature about it. And so that the people who have been appointed can go. There's not much they can do in 8 months, though. There's not much, even they are given a year, there's not much they can do, but at least the business of Ghana.
But government business must go.
Yes, it has to run. I call it the business of Ghana, right, because they are there because of Ghana. They are not there. You see, that is what we do, and at the end of the day, we make governments feel very pompous. They are there because they have to work for Ghana.
Right.
So if there are, for instance, if there are policies in the health sector that will affect, for instance, the Minister Designate was talking about including kidney treatments in the NHIS.
Right.
So
Dr. Okoboy.
Dr. Okoboy. So something like this, if he's not in there, he's not working, he cannot do it. And it's for Ghanaians. So I believe that the Right Honorable, we plead with you. I think he has to recall and let them start work for Ghana. It is very, very key.
Right.
Whatever it is, I go with that call. That yes, it should, because he is not the one going to approve them. The team, the House. So whatever it is, the House will decide. So I believe he has to do so. But the president and everybody should know their position. Then we have to also look at the Constitution, because if the legislature is not detached from the executive, this is what will happen. I think the time has come for us to look at a constitutional review. But that one, for now, it has to wait till we liberate Ghana from the clause of the MPP for now. So any government that comes after here should look at the constitution carefully. Okay. Because the president has ministers in parliament. So sometimes, erroneously, the president thinks he controls parliament. Do you get me? But if it is, you just detach executive from parliament, then you make parliament strong. Then in that case, whoever is the speaker, parliament can work independently. The executive can also work independently.
Let's make tracks, look at some other stories. Any other stories you want to look at?
Providing free...
But are you done with the custodian newspaper?
Yes, I've done. I mean, that's MPA to reduce taxes. Okay, that's a good one. Somebody say he never bribed EC officials. But he gave money, so...
I think that's Professor Kingsley Nyako.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, a very fine man, no. I don't know why
He's someone very close to me, and I felt a bit rather sad at that.
Yes.
Because, yes, the optics of it would come across in a very bad way. I felt sorry that that had happened, but it had happened.
It had happened because he is I mean, anyway, that's how we see him. So he's...
But speaking of which, since you've taken that headline, what do you think about what happened? He's been invited by the police. Some say the OSPs should step into the matter and all that. Do you think we are making a mountain out of a molehill?
No, we are.
Or do you feel these must be addressed to the letter? Some say in other jurisdictions, maybe he would have resigned or something by now. But that could also be a stretch of it. What do you think? Briefly on that. So we go.
I mean, I think that let's put our relationship with him aside. Knowing his pedigree as a lecturer.
An academic.
He shouldn't have done that.
He shouldn't have?
Yes. But maybe he was also under some pressure to do it. The other side of it is that it's also clear that he doesn't know how to do it.
What, he needs lessons in doing it? Hey, Zah.
Yeah, because he did it openly with like the way they do it. We've never seen it. Do you get me? When they are doing it, we speculate and we allege. We've never seen it being done. But this one, he did it openly. Do you understand?
Well.
So it is unfortunate he is the one. But because he's not with, like, I think they gave everybody roles. That's what I'm seeing. Because why should he go to only 2 people? They gave them roles and jurisdictions.
But Richard Ahiagba, and we must move on, but Richard Ahiagba was here over the weekend on Newsfile, vehemently saying this was not MPP. It wasn't planned by the party. It was an individual who went out and did something. And unfortunately, he actually said that it's not something he would do. So speaking for the party, he said it wasn't.
But what do you expect him to say?
I'm just telling you.
What do you expect Richard to say?
I'm just telling you what he said.
No, but Richard can't say anything else. I've been the communications director for the party. What do you expect Richard to say? Yes, he's defending blindly.
He's defending blindly?
Yes, you expect Richard to come and say that it's bad. So now you see he's in trouble. They are trying to give him up. That is not about the party. Who was he doing it for? He wasn't standing an election. What was he even doing there? He's not standing an election. The election, if any group of people are having to support the candidate, it is the party. And you are a member of parliament. And what were you doing there? So an assignment was given. Everybody, you see, I was so surprised that MPP was competing against MPP. And the whole of the MPP machinery was there.
That was the curious bit.
Yes.
But anyway, interesting times ahead.
But he's with the police, so let's see what happens.
Yes.
OSP himself is fighting with Attorney General. So let's see what happens.
But that's another interesting. But anyway, we'll leave that conversation for now. Let's get into other papers.
And now we have we will provide free tertiary for people living with disabilities.
That's the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Yeah, that's the Ghanaian.
We'll provide what?
We will provide free tertiary education for PWDs, Dr. Baumia.
So persons with disability.
Yeah, persons with disability. So he's talking about accommodation.
Let's get a bit of that story.
You want to read?
Let's read a bit of it.
Okay.
What page is
It's
that?
on page 8.
Okay. Let's quickly get to page 8 and look at the details of that
What does it say?
story.
It said that we will provide free tertiary education for PWDs. The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has unveiled a groundbreaking educational policy aimed at supporting persons with disabilities. Speaking during a campaign tour in the Western North Regional House of Chiefs on Saturday, the Vice President, who is also the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, pledged to eliminate residential and tuition fees for all persons with disabilities attending tertiary institutions if elected. By reallocating some funds from the Scholarship Secretariat and the Ghana Education Trust Fund, Dr. Bawumia said that the aim was to ensure that financial burdens did not hinder the academic pursuits of persons with disabilities. I believe that we have to support persons with disabilities a bit more. I want us to dedicate some of the monies from the Scholarship Secretariat and the GET Fund to provide free tertiary education, covering tuition and accommodation to all persons with disabilities who enroll into universities. The benefit of this policy would be manifold. Apart from removing the financial burden for persons with disabilities and their families, allowing them to pursue higher education without worrying about cost would also promote diversity and representation within tertiary institutions, enriching the academic environment and fostering greater understanding and acceptance of disability issues. Again, the initiative aligns with broader efforts to promote social justice and equity, enhancing Ghana's standing as a champion of inclusive education policies. According to the 2021 Ghana Population and Housing Census, persons with disabilities in Ghana constituted about 8%, 2.098138 million of the country's population of 30 and more million. It's a significant statistic from which qualified persons could access this policy.
Wow.
Yes, it's a lot.
Anyway, so again, we get a thrust of it. What do you think about it, though? Very briefly on that. What do you make of it?
It's good for government to support people with PWDs, but it shouldn't be only those in universities. Because, you see, the fundamentals of our education is from the basic. And that is where sometimes, if a person is not able to go to basic education, how can he come to tertiary? And mostly that is where the problem is. Even finding schools for them to go to. Secondary school, some secondary schools don't have ramps. Most secondary schools have stairs. So they can't.
You're talking secondary schools, even tertiary institutions.
Yes, tertiary.
How many of them are in
have
compliance with
Yes, so I think that you should rather look at it holistically and even see how we can even support them as they grow up. Because there's a lot of also stigma around them. The equipment that they need, some are not sitting in wheelchairs, they are sitting on the ground using some wooden, you see them on the streets. So I think that if the vice president really means business,
right,
and he really wants to help, and he should not, you see, that is why I have a problem with His Excellency Dr. Bawumia. You are in government, you're a vice president. These are some of the things that you can initiate policy right now. Why do you wait till you are voted into power? It means you are not telling us.
But he says he's the driver's mate, and the president says the buck stops with him.
If the buck stops, then we don't need a vice presidential candidate. We don't need a vice president. If that is what the vice president...
But the Constitution guarantees that.
But if the Constitution guarantees it, it means you have influence. You are number two. So if this is what it is, the buck stops with the president, but you can also initiate it and speak to the president. You have access to the parliament. You have access to the ministers. You have access to the president. Is he telling us that if he is not a strong vice president, then he cannot be a strong leader for us?
If he's not a strong
vice president, then he cannot be a strong...
Can't be a leader for us.
Yes, a strong leader for us. Because anyway, you need to be a strong vice president and deal with all the issues around you, the stereotypes around you, for you to break through to help.
But you know, some would say that there are some who have said that this is the the strongest, the most active vice president we have had in the Fourth Republic. So
there are two different things. Maybe now he is saying that he's not active. That's what we thought. So it means that it was superficial. That whenever he deemed it right to come and have some talk or some conference, and you address it, and that is it. He is telling us he's not active.
Anyway, let me just do this before we get into other papers. You know, as usual, when you're hosting a show like this that is incisive, biting, cutting, you would have some from the other side, aka foot soldiers.
Foot soldiers,
sending in some, I'm not saying that all of them are, but a lot of them, what they don't know is when they shoot these messages laden with bad grammar sometimes. And I'm going to be a bit abrasive this week. I checked them out on Facebook. You just need to look at their timeline and you see where they are coming from. Some of them are attacking you. Some of them are attacking me. Apparently, we have to turn a blind eye to everything that is happening.
Why should they attack?
Everything is correct. So I have a message for those of you who are sending these kinds of messages. Unfortunately for you, I'm going to keep doing this, inshallah, by God's grace. And I'll keep saying what I said back then. When the erstwhile administration was in power and I was bashing them, oh, that one was all fair game.
Yeah.
But when I speak against the current ills, oh, that one is wrong. And that's my message for you this morning. I'll be here smiling, and you can stew in your pain. So other stories, the new final
my dear,
newspaper.
let me just come here just a second. Why should you be angry when you are being criticized? Because there's a word even in our cant language. We say that the old trust synonyms and the The person carving the road doesn't know that as he's carving, the back of the road is crooked. You need somebody who is following you to tell you that it is crooked.
Right.
So you come back and you correct it. But if you start insulting and you don't see what the issue is, it means you don't love Ghana.
But guess where they are learning that from? The leaders.
Yeah, that is it. Because you know,
from the top
it's
people are insulting.
Yes.
So what can you expect from those at the bottom, some of whom earn their daily bread because they don't have any work.
That is
so
the point. Because
so
if you earn your daily bread like that, right? I always tell myself that if God grants me one day, I don't know, become the president of this nation, people should work. So if they are handing down money to you and they are not giving you work to do, they are not teaching you how to fish. They are teaching you how to.
They are just giving you fish.
They eat how to eat fish, and eating fish it will get finished.
Anyway,
okay.
We have limited time, so let me just quickly do this. The New Finder newspaper, it talks about some of the stories you've looked at. Baumia on PWD's Otumfuo receiving stamps. We brought you that story earlier today. And Minister-designate attributes improved press freedom ranking to media support programs. But interestingly, if you look at all the parameters that were used, about 5 of them...
For press freedom.
For press freedom. We've actually slipped.
Yeah.
It's only one, security, that we made some gains in. All the others, we have slipped, whether marginally or largely in. So you ask yourself then...
that we are looking
I have them...
maybe one or
because of time,
yeah.
But let me just take a look at this. I'll get it for you so that you get to see. So here we go. This is actually it. So the parameters are political, economic, legislative, social, and security, right? When you look at political, we slipped 2023, it was 61.88. 2024 is 59.5.
Wow.
Economic 47.94 in 2023. 2024 is 47.92. Legislative 79.62, now is 74.41. And social 79.98, now is 73.41. Only security-wise did we move from 61.25 to 82.94. So actually we worsened in 4 and increased in 1. Okay. That's the issue. The Daily Guide newspaper, again, about Otumfuo stamp unveiled. OSP cleared Cicely Adapa, not AG. That's according to Godfrey Abuadame. I heard a representative of the OSP speak on Newsfile with something like Anyanini, and they said, listen, we did what we had to, and this whole directive, even based on some reports and other surrounding matters, IOCO shouldn't even have been asking whether they should go ahead. They should have gone ahead with investigations. And so this call is not the right one, but we are where we are. Anti-graft campaigners are up in arms, but I guess it is what it is. December polls will be peaceful. Nana Akufo-Addo says so. But I also worry when he says this, but at the same time he says the only one who can replace me or will be replacing me is my vice president. So then, you know, putting two and two together, I don't know what that really means
he doesn't
or
decide
suggests.
who replaces him.
Pardon me?
I say he doesn't decide who replaces him.
Ah, well, I guess the Ghanaians will have to do that.
Yeah.
Those are the stories I have. Any final thoughts for us before you take leave of us?
I mean, all I'm going to say is that I think that Ghanaians have been shortchanged for a very long time. And it is time for us to ask for accountability, real accountability from our leaders. And also, I believe that we should have an evaluation and monitoring committee which is not political to assess our leaders. So we give you 2 years of the 4 years, and there will be an assessment with certain parameters. We give you some indicators that you follow by. Then after 2 years, we'd really assess the government, because I think governments do whatever they like. But the president, should stop talking.
The president should stop talking.
Yes, I think it's
Why?
time. No, but anytime he says something, no, if I say stop talking, it's not like we are gagging him, but he should be measured in some of the things that he says.
Okay.
And it is very important for, if he wants us to have peace in this nation, I think he should be measured in some. Now he's the president of Ghana. He's not a foot soldier, so he should be measured in some of the things that he says.
Okay. Thank you very much
foot soldiers.
For your thoughts this morning. Nana Yaa Jantuah, before we go, just quickly celebrate belated happy birthday to David Vo, to Erama and Danisia Poma Ajay. Erama and Danisia Poma Ajay are with us. They celebrated their birthdays over the weekend, and David Vo as well. Belated happy birthday to all of you. Now, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helps us bring you this segment every weekday. They're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Their branches, reach out to them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Anaji State, Tema Committee 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zama. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Time now for sports. Up next.